Hello and welcome to another edition of the NT Rockline Show. I am Neil Tilk. I will be your host. During the next hour, you'll hear some of the greatest rock and roll music ever made. We are a theme-based show, don't you know, exploring a different subject every week as depicted by song and event. It's a compilation-style podumentary of universal significance. And did I mention that we play the greatest rock and roll music ever made? I'll draw your attention to how rock and roll has permeated our everyday lives. Each episode will demonstrate a different mindset. So please stay tuned, sit back, and enjoy. Now on with the show. Hello and welcome to another edition of the NT Rockline Show. I am Neil Tilk. I will be your host. During the next hour, you'll hear some of the greatest rock and roll music ever made. We are a theme-based show, don't you know, exploring a different subject every week as depicted by song and event. It's a compilation-style podumentary of universal significance. And did I mention that we play the greatest rock and roll music ever made? I'll draw your attention to how rock and roll has permeated our everyday lives. Each episode will demonstrate a different mindset. So please stay tuned, sit back, and enjoy. Now on with the show. Legend has it that Queen Sheba traveled far and wide to bring King Solomon great gifts of wealth and knowledge. She's come to our show today, folks. Here's Queen Sheba. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Oh, you're very welcome. It's nice to see your smiling face tonight. Since this is radio, let the record show that Queen Sheba has a beaming smile on her face. Thanks for being here. For those of you who don't know Queen Sheba, she writes a popular blog called Modern Dating 101. It's a good read. It caught my attention. I saw a bit of myself in her writing. Tell me, Queen Sheba, what inspired you to start blogging about dating?
Honestly, it was my experiences in the dating world. So I've been off and on in the dating world for the last few years, and you come across some pretty interesting and fun things. And telling my stories, my friends said I should write about it, so I did.
Well, and I've heard a little bit about some of the unusual things that you've gone through in your 5 years of on and off. What is it about dating? It's always on and off.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's just the generation we're in right now.
Yeah, it could be. So we got a couple things in common. We both write our thoughts down, and I think a sort of a method of self-help. I think we both do that, and we're both quite willing to talk about our experience. And that's one of the reasons I asked Sheba on the show tonight, because I like her message, and she's precisely what the show needs right now is a woman touch. So the NT Loveline needs to look at relationships from both sides. You need to talk about it responsibly or maybe whimsically, but by two people that care about the relationship and your relationships as well. And there is a demand for the premise of the show, and not only for therapeutic reasons. Relationships are the most complicated things in our lives usually, so we're here to help you sort it out. Dating and relationships during a time when the waters have never been murkier and the minefields more treacherous. Relationships in the year 2020 as seen through the eyes of Modern Dating 101, Queen Sheba. I'm Neil Tilk with my special guest. You're listening to the NT Loveline Show. For those of you who are looking for love, as they say in a court of law, that question has been asked and answered. We think so. Ready for love? Here's Beck.
Walking down this rocky road, wondering where my life is leading, rolling on to the bitter end, finding out along the way what it takes to keep love living. You should know how it feels, my friend. I want you to stay. Many miles and many tears.
ready for love? I think so. First things first, you answered the question, Bad Company, ready for love. Now, Bryan Adams is going to say that he's ready to love you, asked and answered.
I'd like to see you, thought I'd let you know. I wanna be with you every day. 'Cause I got a feeling it's beginning to grow. There's only one thing I can say. I'm ready to love you. I'm ready to hold you. I'm ready to love you. I'm ready to hold you. I'm ready as I'm gonna be. You left me a long note when you left me here. Told me that love was hard to find. But baby, it's easy, and I'll make it clear. There's only one thing on my mind. I'm ready to love you. I'm ready to hold you. Baby, I'm ready to love you. I'm ready to hold you. I'm ready as I'm gonna be. I'm ready to love you. I'm ready to hold you. I'm ready to love you. I'm ready to hold you. Baby, I'm ready. Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready to hold you. Did you hear me? I'm ready. Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready to love you. Baby, I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready to hold you. I'm ready as I'm gonna be.
Back with my special guest, Queen Sheba. Right after this, we want to play a little bit of Lenny Kravitz for you because from my experience, when you're really, truly ready for love, we have to let love rule. We'll be back right after this.
Is gentle as a rose, and love can conquer anyone. It's time to take a stand. time. And love can make a little child smile. Can't you see? This won't go wrong. But we got to be strong. We can't do it alone. We gotta let love roll. We got to let love roll.
Gotta Let Love Rule with Lenny Kravitz. So, let's consider the idea that we are indeed ready for love. You know what I want to know? How come it's always the guy that has to do the asking? Sheba, you're a modern day woman. How come you girls never do the asking? Or do you girls actually ask guys and just nobody's ever asked me?
I have asked before. I am in the mindset where if you want something, you go after it. You don't wait around for it.
Well, and how many of your brethren, your sisterin, or how many of your folk believe that? Like, are you rare?
I think so, yeah. I don't think too many women have the same mindset. It's a little bit scary, too, and intimidating, but...
Well, what do you think we feel like? Do you think it's any less scary and intimidating for a guy?
Generationally, you guys have been doing it since the beginning of time.
Oh, I see. So it's like inbred, right?
Just expected of you guys, I guess.
Well, and this is I'm not happy about that. Anyway, me myself in my life. You know how I remove people from my life. Any idea? I ask them out. Because it works, and it works on all of them, men and women. Usually what I get is this kind of thing. What I normally get is that kind of response. Okay, but what I really want to know is that after that overwhelming reaction, and then I get this word, and I go, "Well, I'm working on me," or "I have to love me first." Is that just an artful dodge, or they just let me down easy?
I think so.
Yeah. I'm sad.
Sorry.
It's okay. Somebody had to be the bearer of bad news. So, like, what are the chances of 20 women in a row having to work on themselves?
Well, I don't know.
Do you think that's pretty slim chances? I don't know.
I don't know. I see a lot of women out there working on themselves right now.
Well,
so who knows?
and I don't get it. Okay, so what about working on themselves precludes the idea that you can't have a relationship at the same time? Like, I don't get it. How come they're separate?
That is a good question, and I find with relationships, a lot of times when we get involved with someone, we end up giving a lot of ourselves, and then our own needs get pushed off to the side.
That's a definite possibility. Mm-hmm. But isn't that something that you have to let go? Like, I mean, isn't that something you almost have to do willingly, and instead of being forced to? Isn't that something that you would willingly do for your partner?
For sure, yeah. And it should be a give and take scenario, but a lot of times it ends up being one giving more than the other and kind of sucking the energy out of you.
Well, stop giving all your stuff away, okay? So we got another song coming up, and it's like... So, like we were saying, in every relationship, somebody does a little bit more than the other. Somebody cares a little bit more than the other. Somebody loves more than the other sometimes. And I call that the driver, because somebody's driving the relationship. And it's usually the person that asks somebody out. They're the driver. So does asking somebody out, and once you get together in a relationship, does that like give you an advantage or a disadvantage that you asked them out and they didn't ask you out?
That's another good question. I don't know. I guess it would not necessarily initiate that hierarchy, but it could maybe in someone's mind.
So does that, like, what I'm wondering is, if I do the asking and she doesn't, then how will I know that she's as in as I am? Right? So that's the kind of situation you find yourself in sometime. People say yes, but you don't know if they're all the way in or they're in as far as you are because you did the asking.
Yeah.
The onus has always been on the man, and you know something? I think that's wrong. I'm all for men's liberation. So whoever's done the driving, whoever's doing the driving, well, that's an auspicious situation. And I can tell you that if you're driving someone home, you're pretty lucky. Have you ever heard that expression, halfway home?
No.
No? It really means that when you're taking somebody home, you're halfway there. So here's one of the prettiest songs ever written by a bunch of metalheads, no doubt.
Who's gonna tell you when it's too late? Who's gonna tell you things aren't so great? You can't go on thinking nothing's wrong. tonight. Who's gonna pick you up when you fall? Who's gonna hang it up when you call? Who's gonna pay attention to your dreams? Yeah, who's gonna plug their ears when you scream? You can't go on thinking nothing's wrong. Who's gonna drive you home tonight? Who's gonna hold it down when you lose? Who's gonna come around when you break? You can't go on thinking nothing's wrong. Who's gonna drive you home tonight? Oh, you know you can't go on thinking nothing's wrong. Who's gonna drive you home tonight?
An amazingly beautiful song, sung and written by the Cars. So, Queen Sheba, I read in your blog that some of your unusual requests that people have made of you in the dating world. There were obvious requests that most of us are aware people are making, and we'll let the listeners decide what those are. But someone once made you an unusual offer, and it reads like this. It was a mild request, and then you go on to describe that this fella was looking for you to dominate him financially. What's with that?
Yeah, that was an interesting one. That actually opened up, Pandora's box on the whole fetishes. So that one, I had to do my research, and thankfully he was open to discussing things with me. I told him, I'm not able to do this for you, but I would like to know what it's about and what it means and what you got out of it. So basically he wanted me to take over his income and provide him with an allowance for doing things for me.
Wow. Mm-hmm. That is really quite an offer. Tell me, first off, does he have a sister?
He didn't get to that level of conversation.
Okay, well, maybe you can forward his name and I can ask him then. That is really fascinating, of all the different fetishes that I'm aware of and the different situations I've been in. I've never actually heard of that. When I read about it, I thought, yeah, something? 9 out of 10 women, 99 out of 100 women might take him up on that.
Absolutely.
So why not?
Just some of the things that he was asking for or would have asked for were just not things that I could have done.
I see.
Yeah.
And this is like a no contact, no physical, no. Mm-hmm. So some of the things that you couldn't do, or one of the things that he wanted you to do that you couldn't. Maybe you can enlighten us on that.
One of the requests was that he would come over to my house and clean my house, and I could put him down and,
would call him names and this kind of stuff, and then he would pay me to do that, and that's just not in my nature.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's an extraordinary request.
Yep.
And I'm just about to come over there and feel her forehead to see if she's maybe running a fever.
Afterwards, I was like, why couldn't I do it? Come on.
And there's always tomorrow. You can try to stay in touch, maybe.
Find his number again.
Hey, so did I tell you that no one has ever been brave enough to do the MC Loveline show with me?
You did not tell me that, no.
Because if I had of, would you still be here?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, I know.
I like risks.
You're a pretty brave girl. She had a lot of fun tonight. Now, speaking of brave, it takes a special kind of brave to feel anything these days, don't you think? Feelings are more guarded than ever. I picked up this song that I love from way back, and I'm going to play for you. Vulnerability is so scarce, such a scarce commodity. There are a lot of uncertainties. There's give and take, but who gives first? And does that give them an advantage or put them at a disadvantage? Someone has to make a move. It's the most precarious position there is in life. But this guy, Al Wilson, he makes a leap of faith seem very worthwhile. Show and tell.
These are the eyes that never knew how to smile till you came into my life. And these are the arms that long to lock you inside every day and every night. Girl, and here is the soul of which you've taken control. Can't you see I'm trying to show love is right? Oh, show and tell, just a game I play when I wanna say I love you, girl. So show me and tell me that you feel the same way too. Say you do, baby. These are the hands that can't help reaching for you if you're anywhere inside. Anywhere inside. And these are the lips that can't help calling your name in the middle of the night. Middle of the night. Oh, and here is the man who needs to know where you stand. Don't you know I've done all I can? So decide. Oh, show and tell. It's just a game I play when I wanna say I love you, girl. So show me and tell me that you feel the same way too. Say you do, baby, baby, baby. Here is the soul of which you've taken control. If you see I'm trying to show love is right. Ooh, girl, show and tell. Just a game I play when I wanna say, oh, I love you, girl. So show me and tell me that you feel the same way too. Say you do, baby. Oh, show and tell. Just a game I play when I wanna say, oh, I love you, girl. So show me and tell me that you feel the same way too.
In a world where you are thirsty, where first your mouth is dry, then you're confused, and then you're unconscious. Only one thing can prevent this horrible fate. Water. Kidney stones, muscle cramps, fevers, and even death. All side effects of dehydration, which can be solved by only one thing. H2O. Coming this summer to a tap near you.
So even though people are seemingly more accessible than ever, there are more people that suffer from loneliness. The feeling of isolation is not new, but isolation with so many people available to us, That's just a cruel irony. Lonely is as lonely does. No one but nobody wants to be lonely. Here is Heart with Alone. Man, that woman can sure wail a tune, can't she? We're back with Queen Sheba. I have her own song in the computer. I've got a question for you, because, you know, men are always interested, if not fascinated, to learn what goes on in a woman's mind. So when we couple up, there's like no guarantee that it's going to work, but we're always hopeful, I think, when we start, that it will. What do you think is the most important qualities a partner needs to have to make it work?
There are so many different things that you can look at when you're looking for a partner. I mean, somebody who is able to communicate is very important, because if you have somebody that's not able to communicate their feelings properly, it can be very difficult to make things work. Empathy, being able to, empathize with the other person's feelings and understanding where they're coming from. That's also another important one.
Okay. Yeah, I agree, actually, because you can't really react to somebody unless you really know how they're feeling. And empathy is really just a word display of whatever your partner is feeling. Mm-hmm. So I agree with that. That's sort of an emotional sort of need, I think, too. So have you got a third?
Honesty.
Honesty.
Yeah, and integrity.
Well, and they kind of go hand in hand, really, don't they?
Yep.
I mean, integrity is again another internal quality. It's really all you have when you wake up in the morning. You have yourself, and you have what your history is, and you have the integrity in which you're going to approach the day. So, so honesty is probably an answer that most people would make. I think it's the second most wanted quality next to a sense of humor.
Oh, yeah.
Because everybody says they want a sense of humor, and meanwhile I'm like, laugh track guy, and I'm single. Anyway, so it can't be the most important thing. Anyway, so, well, yeah, I guess the honesty matters because, what a tangled web we weave, right? When first we practice to deceive. And I know that a lot of people are not able to be really honest with their partner. And maybe that's because they're afraid of what their partner will think or feel, or I'm not too sure. But honesty is a pretty important quality. Absolutely. I got 3 picked out as well, but you know something? I'm going to make you listen to a commercial first and come back.
Make us wait.
I'll give you the letters to my answer. Diva.
Knowing is half the battle.
911, what's your emergency?
No one has the luxury of knowing when an emergency will happen, but we all have the opportunity to know what to do in that situation.
So you're probably going to yourself, what the heck does diva have to do with the qualities a person must have in order to have a good relationship? Well, the first one is an acronym, I love acronyms. The first one is desire. I think that initially the desire is the part that brings people together, and I think when you lose desire for somebody, that it's so much easier not to stay together. And you need to maintain that desire throughout your entire relationship so that nobody wanders. Inspire, the I, right? Be with someone that inspires you to do great things, not just common things, not just settling things. You gotta want somebody who wants you to be the most you can be, and if it turns back in the relationship, it feeds back, and success, breeds success. But thirdly, and this is the big one, this is the biggie because it goes to character, and you absolutely must very much admire the person that you're with, and that means that you have some pride in them, and that you're proud of who you're with, and you'll never think to wander. Even with my relationships that are, even my ex-wives, I have an excellent relationship with them still, and I still admire them for who they are. And, and that makes me treat them with the kind of respect that really should have. So if you never lose your admiration for the person, even if you don't see them anymore, then you'll always treat them better, fairly. Diva.
Very good.
Watching the clock, it's 4 o'clock, it's got to stop. Tell him, take no more. She practices her speech as he opens the door. She rolls over, pretends to sleep as he looks her over. She lies and says she's in love, can't find a better man. She dreams in color, she dreams in red. Can't find a better man. Can't find a better man. Can't find a better man.
That was Better Man by Pearl Jam. So, Queen Sheee, Queen. What do you think that song's all about?
To me, that song is about complacency and settling in a relationship.
And is that something that you find is a very common theme?
Absolutely.
How many people do you know that you think are in relationships because they absolutely want to be there?
Not as many as there should be.
Absolutely. So, too many ways, too many times, too many situations call for, something, a match made of convenience. Mm-hmm. And I see that all the time. I see people pairing up, and it's because it works for everybody. But the question is, do you need them or do you want them? Mm-hmm. Because to me, if you don't need them, then you must want them, right? But if you need them, there's always that little bit of confusion there. It's like, do I want to be here or do I need to be here? Mm-hmm. And the more things that they're providing for you that you need, the more reasons you have to stay for the wrong reason.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I think working on yourself and learning about yourself.
There it is again. I'm 21.
and figuring out what you bring to the table is a good way to eliminate that need for someone, right? When you are perfectly happy on your own, you can go out into the world and be like, this is what I bring. What can you do to enhance my life?
That's right. Don't complicate.
Yeah.
What's the other part of that? Don't complicate. There's no
Compliment.
Compliment. Thank you. See, this is why she's here, because I need someone to finish my sentences for me. I have to drop off one or two words, and I go, I don't know what I was saying about all the other, but anyway. So a song about complacency, and that is unfortunate that so many people find themselves in a situation like that. If you are self-sufficient, the more self-sufficient you are, the less you need somebody. And so that's independence. Mm-hmm. And, I'm totally in. My daughters are both fiercely independent. And they both have boyfriends, fiancés that they love and care about because they don't need them. They just want them. Mm-hmm. So I think, if nothing else, I taught them that. And their mother, she taught them all the rest of the good stuff. So hopefully if you're in a relationship, and if you want an attitude kind of thing, I think when you're in a relationship, you should be thinking this way.
Gathered me
So let's hope when we're dating that we're always telling somebody that you're what I'm looking for, because that's really the whole notion of it, right? So it ain't getting any easier to have a decent relationship these days, much less find love. If and when you are lucky enough to find love, Queen Sheba suggests that you be a good communicator, that you have empathy, and that you have honesty. Good advice for all of us. And since there's not a man in the world that wouldn't want to be sitting where I am right at the moment, I'd listen very closely if I were you. I always like to finish a show with a little bit of hope. That's a little bit of hope. Shoot for the moon, seek and ye shall find. Keep looking until you find love. It's worth it. And that concludes another edition of the NT Loveline Show, the heartbeat of the heat. Maybe if we ask really, 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 really nicely, Queen Shee will come back next week. So repeat after me. Please, 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 please. What do you say? What do you say? What do you say? What do you say?
Yeah, I think I'll come back.
She's going to come back next week. Excellent. So join us again next week on the NT Loveline Show for me and Queen Shee. Are you going to want equal billing? No. We'll discuss that.
Well, yeah, we'll talk about it.
We'll talk about that later off the air. So as always, thanks for listening in. I hope love wins for you tonight.
Smarties.
Smarties, the crunchy smooth candy with the power pill taste.
Smarties.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, hi, what's going on?
Good.
How's it going, Neil?
Good, John. Happy Saturday, man.
Happy Saturday to you guys, too.
So, hey, we're a little early for the Grateful Dead concert. What do you like? What do you want to do?
Something fun. Have you ever been in there? Let's try that.
I don't know, man. It looks like kind of sketchy. Looks boring to me, man.
Oh, come on, you wuss. You killed Joy. We got an hour to kill. Come on.
Hey, it looks like a wax dummy that looks like an old man.
Good day, gentlemen. Ooh, and milady. What a pleasure to have you here.
Holy crap, it talks. Hey, Pops.
Will you be helping your friends through the rooms, or would you rather watch on the closed circuit with me?
Hey.
Thank you, sir. I'm not a watcher. I'm a participant.
Very well. Welcome to the 4 rooms, each an adventure in and of itself. Simply find the door to your next way out. That'll be $12 apiece.
I got this. Here's 50, old timer. Keep the change.
Why, thank you, sir. Whatever will I do with a whole $2?
Hey, don't mention it.
Yes, well, in case of emergency, or if you should decide to exit the game early, just yell Herpes Simplex 3, because no one ever yells that. Except for you, maybe.
Come on.
Emergency. Leave early. Wimp out. Sure, Pop.
God, Stevie. Got you there, man. God, Stevie, let's go, man. Let's go.
Steve.
Pitter patter.
What an asswipe.
In this room, you must find a skeleton key to open the door.
So we need to find a skeleton, right?
No, dimwit. It's not a skeleton. It's an old-fashioned style of key.
Oh, well then you should know, Neil.
Come on, Neil.
Welcome to the HMS Foolhardy.
HMS?
Her Majesty's service, you bloody commoner. In this room, you must correctly answer a skill-testing question to avoid the slime that will be on your heads if you're wrong. Riddle me this. What has 8 arms, 8 legs, and 8 eyes, and makes a high-pitched squeal?
A spider.
You wish. It's you four. Thank you for playing along.
Ouch! Ah, my back. That's gonna hurt tomorrow.
So what was the key thing all about anyway?
Well, howdy, cowpoke. Move along now. Oh, howdy, ma'am. The pleasure be all mine today. Aren't you just as purty as the 4th of July? Let's just say we send these pokes ahead. You and I get to know each other a little better.
No, thank
Hey,
you.
man, don't
I think I
talk to her
should stay
like
with my
that.
friends.
Yeah, they sure are a sad-looking bunch.
Hey, We didn't pay to get abused.
Yes, you did, boy. Read your fine print, son. Excuse me, ma'am. Now listen up here, you vermin. Pass beyond this room, one of y'all got to ride that there bull.
Huh?
Okay, I will go.
Yeah? Huh?
Oh, ouch. Man, I've had enough of this. Steve, how do they say we get out of here?
Rupee Simplex 3.
Walk into the light.
Thank you for listening to another edition of the NT Rockline Show. My name is Neil Tilk, and I'm pleased as punch to have you here with me today, and I hope to see you again real soon. A complete volume of my work can be found at www.soundcloud.com/Neil Tilk. I hope you've enjoyed every second. You can reach me at ntrockline@gmail.com or visit our page at ntrockline@facebook.com, where you'll find lots of extra stuff. Until we meet again. Thank you for listening to another edition of the NT Rockline Show. My name is Neil Tilk, and I'm pleased as punch to have you here with me today, and I hope to see you again real soon. A complete volume of my work can be found at www.soundcloud.com/Neil Tilk. I hope you've enjoyed every second. You can reach me at ntrockline@gmail.com or visit our page at ntrockline@facebook.com, where you'll find lots of extra stuff. Until we meet again.